Giratina VSTAR is a powerful card released in the Lost Origins set in September of 2022, and the face of the Lost Zone since Pokemon Diamond and Pearl and Platinum. The card quickly became one of the most popular decks, with its high damage output and synergy with the Lost Zone engine. It seemed that there was no real way to counter this monster of a deck. However, when Silver Tempest came out, Giratina was thoroughly outclassed by Lugia VSTAR. Lugia dominated the game and had a strong matchup against Giratina, so Giratina immediately fell off the face of the earth and hasn't been seen since. However, the rotation severely weakened decks like Lugia, which used to be Giratina's predators. Giratina itself doesn't even have a weakness, and it does lots of damage and has a lot of HP. This makes it very well rounded and difficult to counter. Furthermore, the release of Paldea Evolved offers a bit of hope for Giratina once again. Jet Energy gives a significant buff to the deck, as Giratina can take advantage of it more than other decks. Of course, Jet Energy has great synergy with Comfey, but even among Comfey decks, Giratina enjoys it the most. Giratina's colorless requirement allows it to get maximum value from Jet Energy. There aren't any specific cards that make Giratina VSTAR super good from Paldea Evolved, nor is there a brand new archetype that has a clear weakness to Giratina VSTAR that will enable a huge resurgence for this deck. It just gets access to a few new options, is still a solid, well-rounded card overall, and checks all the boxes for a potentially powerful deck. Giratina also enjoys access to Suprod, Artisan, and possibly even Iono, though those cards are more universally quality of life increases to every deck. The real question is this: are these minor upgrades really enough to put Giratina on the map? We have some tournament results from Japan that seem to indicate the answer is yes. In recent major events in Japan, Giratina's results have been significant, showing that it can compete with established powerhouses such as VMAX and God of War EX. If you want to support the channel, you can use code Tablemon to get 5% off at Potent Store for your online codes, 10% off for your sealed product at Flipside Gaming, and 10% off on your aluminum accessories at TC Evolutions. Or if you're looking to buy singles or sleeves, you can fill up your cart and close the tab, then click on the affiliate link in the description and check out. That way you can support the channel over at TCG Player, Card Market, and Dragon Shield. This video is sponsored by the Pokemon TCG deck building website PokemonCard.io. ¿Eres de México y necesitas cartas de Pokémon? Busca Hyperbeam Cards en Facebook e Instagram. Y si estás en Tijuana, búscalos en el local C27 en el centro comercial Otay. Giratina has never been weak per se, it has just been slightly outclassed, and players have favored other decks for the most part. It seems that this small nudge in Giratina's power level is all it needed to jump back into the fray. Let's not forget that Giratina is also using the established Lost Zone engine, and still has attackers such as Cramorant, Sableye, and Radiant Greninja. The single price Pokemon on their own are quite strong, and they allow the deck to go with a single price mode if the situation calls for it. Mirage Kid is versatile, and Giratina's massive damage output and V-Star attack make it a great partner for this engine. Interestingly, several Japanese lists use Path to a Peak. Path is strong against nearly all of the major meta decks, and has relatively little downside to Giratina, only shutting down Radiant Greninja's draw power. Path seems to be another factor that allows Giratina to stay relevant at the highest level. Previously, Temple of Sinnoh was used with Giratina to help against Lugia. Nowadays, Path to a Peak is useful against Lugia and other decks. This seems to be more worthwhile than Temple, which has a little more power against specifically Lugia, but is not good against much else. At the recent Japanese Championship tournament, one of the largest tournaments of all time, a disruption-focused Giratina list was able to make top 4, with 2 others making top 8. Ayato Fudetani played a disruption-focused list that ran 2 Roxanne, 2 Path, and an Iono, and Temple of Sinnoh as well. Giratina is taking a page out of Mew's book for this one. You don't need to lock opponents out of the game, but you can simply disrupt your opponent's tempo for a turn or 2. Thanks to Giratina's massive damage output, even a little bit of disruption can swing a price trade back into its favor. There has been a trend in Japan of Giratina VSTAR continually doing well, whereas over on this side of the world, it has failed to consistently prove itself. I've been a big fan of the deck myself, and continually come back to explore it, but it seems to be stuck in between not being a powerful enough V-Star based deck such as Lugia V-Star or Arceus V-Star, whilst also not being as powerful as Lost Box decks since you have to devote so much space to the Giratina V-Star line. If you have enjoyed the video so far and found the information useful, please consider becoming a Tablemon channel member through the join button down below. For as low as $1.99 a month, you can help support the creation of these videos. Giratina doesn't have particularly great matchups, but is carried more by its well-roundedness. Because of this, the player can choose specific decks that it wants for other matchups. Path to the Peak is a soft tech for most matchups. I already mentioned Temple of Sinnoh that lets Giratina bypass V-Guard energy. Giratina can also play Drapion V to take down Mew VMAX. Between Drapion and Giratina's Star Requiem, I genuinely thought Mew VMAX was not going to be a good competitor, especially at EUIC in the brand new format. But I ended up getting 3rd place with Mew and realizing quickly that even though Giratina was a threat, it just wasn't quite up to par. However, Paldea Evolved might change that, even though Mew has real problems dealing with the deck. Alternatively, you can play Cleansing Gloves for a dual-use tech against Gardevoir and Mew in Giratina VSTAR, allowing you to 1-KO Gardevoir EX and Mew VMAX respectively. Giratina's weakest matchup is the same as it's always been: other Lost Box decks. Dedicated single-price Lost Box decks will almost always have the advantage against Giratina. Giratina's huge numbers are nearly meaningless against Lost Box, and thus it is forced into a sort of mirror match where it has less options and fewer resources. Of course, the deck overall makes up for it with its nuclear power against multi-price decks, but that is little consolation against other Lost Zone decks, and if these are going to be as popular as they have been, then that puts Giratina in a difficult spot. Fortunately for Giratina, Lost Box does not seem to have a stranglehold on the format at the moment. Between Mew, Gardevoir and Lugia, there are enough other decks that taking a slightly unfavorable matchup to Lost Box seems fine. That said, you will still run into it on occasion, as Lost Box is still a very strong contender in the metagame. Due to Giratina's well-rounded and balanced nature as a deck, you usually won't get caught off guard against random stuff. Giratina has few weaknesses, and should be able to handle most lower tier or rogue tech decks that you will inevitably run into from time to time. Giratina also annihilates Goodra and Arceus, which are decks that always seem to pop up at random times. Strong single price Pokemon, possibility to 1-KO V-Star and VMAXs, whilst being difficult to be 1-hit KO itself, puts Giratina V-Star in a fantastic spot in theory, but only time will tell if Giratina will be able to make a resurgence in the Paldea Evolved format as we lead into NAIC. After all, Japan's results do not always translate one-to-one to our formats, but if you are a fan of Giratina V-Star, now is probably your best chance in months to play the deck competitively. Of course, Giratina V-Star has enjoyed a good degree of success already previous to Paldea Evolved coming out, having won a regional already but paired with Arceus V-Star. Even though it wasn't the star of the show, that is how Giratina V-Star has enjoyed the most success on this side of the world. Does Giratina V-Star with the Lost Zone engine suck? No. Will it be tier 1 again? Who knows? But the consistent placements of the deck over in Asia cannot be a coincidence, and I will certainly be playing more with the deck to determine its true power as the Paldea Evolved format settles down. I would like to give out a personal shout out to the people who go out of their way to support the channel and these sort of videos. Dollar Rhyme, Dorian Rodriguez, Potterhead, Mr. Proto, Vargas, Darius Vettel, Maddie Thunders, thank you so much for your support. If you're interested in joining as a member of the channel, please click the link next to the subscribe button down below. Hopefully this video helps you out with a solid understanding of what makes Giratina V-Star an obscure but potentially good pick in the upcoming weeks as we enter the Paldea Evolved format and with the deck making an appearance so often in the Japanese metagame. Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't yet, and leave a comment if you found it useful or if you think there's something I overlooked. Until next time!